Welcome to the People's Lens. We're coming to you from St. Paul's University in Limuru, and we're here to have a conversation with the young minds on the role of the church in shaping young voices in Kenya. Why, you ask? Because it's simple. The church has long been a pillar of moral guidance in our communities, but as society changes, are these young people finding their voices within it?
That's a key question. So we'll be speaking to future leaders, young thinkers, and the key question right here will be evaluating the role of the church and how we as youth can take ownership of our faith and our future. This is the People's Lens, and as she mentioned, we're coming to you live from St. Paul's University. She happens to be an alumni. This is your alma mater. Good old days, yeah?
Good old days. It's so nostalgic. So let me show you through my neck of the woods.
Pull up. I happen to know you used to be a Miss St. Paul's University.
Yes, 2012. I represented the school.
Okay.
And in other platforms.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another day.
So if journalism doesn't work, you have a career in modeling.
Well, then yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's go pondering about
Okay.
it.
Mentioned, we are at St. Paul's University here in Limuru, and we're engaging St. Paul's youngest and finest minds on the role of the church in shaping their voices, not only now, but also in future. What role does the church play? And let's begin by just asking all of you, how many of you go to church? How many feel like their voices are heard in church? None? Okay, a few. I don't know about you, Jesse. Did the church play a huge role in shaping who you are as a person?
Yes, it did, of course. I was brought up in a Christian setting. So the church was mandatory most Sundays. And at the end of the day, you sort of see the lessons in my day-to-day activities right now.
Okay.
So I definitely see the value with benefit of hindsight. But there's usually this criticism that is fronted towards churches and religious institutions in terms of there's a disconnect when the youth are agitating for whether democratic, social, or political change. The church takes a step back. Okay. So they've definitely been criticized, and it would be interesting to get their take on this matters, the role of the church, and equally, do they feel involved in the day-to-day activities within this religious institution?
Definitely. And, you know, coincidentally, whoever is sitting next to me does divinity. Oh. So that's a really good place to start. So let's talk about it. You do divinity. So church and Christianity is really important. It is a calling for you. Do you feel like you are heard in church?
Our voices are not heard, and we need the space, advocacy for space. Like the church needs create a space whereby the youth are able to come in, to put out their views on how maybe the church administration, the matters of finance, so they may be part of the decisions that are made in the church.
Okay.
How open is the church to sensitive conversations from your perspective? Talk about matters to do with if it's family planning, you know, those things back in the day they would frown upon. Right now, do you feel like it's a safe environment to open up in terms of those sensitive conversations?
Okay. Most of the youths feel like sometimes you're not even yourself in church because you have to wear something, you'll be someone else in church because people be judging you, and mostly maybe if people could be allowed to be free and give out their opinions, it would be better, and the youths will be doing different things now.
I would say the church is playing a crucial role in the lives of the youth. Now, take an example where the church organizes the sports activities, the seminars where the youth and even the adults can get advices and counseling there. So I say the church has played a crucial role to raise people.
Do you feel judged when you're in church, either based on dressing or hairstyle or just your style? Any of you? How many of you feel judged? You don't feel judged? None of you. You do, right? And do you feel like the church doesn't understand young people? Why so?
I feel like there is much continuous improvement in the church, regardless of the things that have been there, people being body shamed, people being ridiculed through their dressing. There's so much flexibility nowadays where even the pastors are adjusting to the modern life. Even them, you see them wearing like the youths. There is the sermons where that Sunday it's the youths who are preaching. So you see that they say today we are doing old school.
Importance of and social impact.
Personally, I haven't been in a position where I have received any of the backlash, but from what is happening in the country, you can see that there is that unity where people have come up with speaking out if someone is being discriminated in church and they stand up for you. And also there is help, peer helping groups, many subgroups in the church, such as the youth groups, the women groups, the men groups, and after services you find that they discuss the day-to-day problems which all of them are undergoing, and that one has provided a safe space for people to talk about the issues they are going through. So I feel like there is so much improvement in that.
So we've all agreed that there are some struggles that the church does not understand. From your perspective, what role can the church play in amplifying your voice as a youth or shaping it?
And so actually the church participates by offering an environment of free expression and also development of microgroups whereby the youth can express themselves freely and actually say out their mind, and that actually builds up a sense of confidence and courage and a self-expression.
Do you think the church is maybe afraid of outspoken youth?
Churches have their own rules, have their own doctrine they follow. So once as a youth you come up with your own way or with your own voice, they'll tend not to listen to you that much, but they'll try to fix you according to their own way. Yeah.
You used to go to church back at home. Now you come to campus, you're trying to look for a different church right here, which will be easy to attend, or whether it's every Sunday. Is that transition a little bit difficult before you settle and find the church that you truly feel you belong to? Talk to us about the challenges of joining university and still staying true to that religion call within you. Yeah.
For me, like church yangu ya home ilikuwa Deliverance. So when I came to St. Paul's now, nilipata Deliverance iko hii side now. So it was easier for me now to continue. Okay, so what was new when I came to St. Paul's is that like St. Paul's imetupea ile platform ya, we have a chaplaincy group yenye like youths and Christian students, and even if you're not saved, like you just come, we have different chaplaincy groups zenye inatupea opportunities za kugrow. So like for me home sikuwa naona youths wengi wakiwa kwa like wana participate kwa church sana. Unaonanga zile churches zenye inatenga youth groups and all that. So huku we have given that chance ya kuna praise and worship yenye inakuwa led by the youths. Kuna media team inakuwa led by the youths. Kuna dance yenye inakuwa led by the youths. So now like participating in these groups for the first time ilikuwa a little bit difficult because nilikuwa nashangaa how like wanafanyaje vitu in this way. Unaona, so inatupea pia opportunity ya kuingia na kutry, and also inapea mtu ile chance ya kugrow spiritually. Like you don't feel like mimi nafaa tu kuwa fixed like in that youth group only alone without participating in these other activities. So that is a good thing, but I think mostly I think students when maybe they are wako universities zenye si Christian, I think hao ndio wanaweza face some difficulties because sasa like easy church activities is not introduced to them like much kama huku, so transitioning can be difficult.
Let's just be honest. Tumeenda Sunday school sisi wote. Tumefundishwa, yes, and we're where we are. And faith is really important in our lives. But do you feel like in church, especially from that young age, we are taught to be critical? Or are we taught, you know, there is right and wrong? The church follows this route, and therefore you should follow this route. Thank you. Your thoughts?
I look at it from a psychological perspective, because who is the church? The church is you. The church is me, the church is us. So what are the philosophies or what are the beliefs that we subscribe to in life? That's what is shaping the modern church right now. Because if I believe that 1 and 2 is wrong, even though I go ahead at the end of the day to read my Bible, I'm attached to a particular church, at the end of the day, what is in my mind, what is right in my mind is what I'll end up doing. Yeah, so I would say that it starts from within. It starts from us. What is right to us? What doctrines do we carry? What beliefs do we have? Which mentors do we follow? What is our school of thought? And with that is now where we can be able to extend it now to the church, to school, and to even other platforms.
Okay. Times are changing. The world is changing. Do you feel like it will get to a point where some traditions need to be left behind and for the church to take a different route perhaps?
The church has traditionally been a moral compass guiding communities. Maybe you're coming from the mountain, you're coming from the plain, guiding communities, nurturing leaders, and even sometimes the church offers a platform for justice and service. And I believe we all know that many great Kenyan leaders, activists, and even change makers were deeply influenced by the teaching from the church. But, however, if we ask ourselves whether the church is still has its own influence, my answer, I can say it is very complex. Because on one hand, the church provides some spiritual grounding and even mentorship opportunities for us students. So, what we request from the church, we don't just want to be preached to. We want to partner with.
when you talk about matters to do with good governance, the fight against corruption, fighting gender-based violence, inequality, and all that, should the church be more vocal? And equally, on matters politics, should it be neutral or should it take a side?
A leader should give an ear. In church, the church should not keep silent when the gender-based violence, the inequality, poor governance are happening. What the church should do, the church should walk alongside with the youth, to listen to their ideas, to listen to their voices, and give them a chance to lead and expect for transformation.
Still on national matters, just by show of hands, how many agree that State House should host a proper church, as President William Ruto says, or is that not a priority? How many agree it should host a proper church? It is not a priority. Show of hands. It's not a priority. Why? And then, even as you answer that, still by show of hands, should the church stay neutral or should it take sides? Those for neutral, those for taking sides. Oh, neutral, yeah? Okay.
When it
church should not take sides and the church should not be neutral. What the church should do, the church should practice justice and speak out and say, this is not right. If it is us, the young people, doing things that are not right, they're supposed to say this is not right. If it is the government, this is not right. But it is very sad that you see a bishop going in State House to go and speak on matters pertaining the youths, and then they are given a brown envelope. That is so bad and that is so sad. So the church should be fair and just on matters pertaining politics, on matters pertaining the society, and on matters pertaining the young people. Another thing is that in the church, I really love the question that was asked. If the church is offering justice to all people, we can say that if we look at the current, for example, in my church, the older people are a number in my church, and you will see them discriminating us or being they will judge us for the way we are talking, the way we are dressing, and they will say that we have kiherehere na watoto wa generation hawataki kuambiwa. That is so sad to hear a grandmother say that, a parent say that, an elder in the church telling you that. I think that the church should adapt to the changes we have, and the generations, not only the young people, the older people and the younger generations should come together and talk one language as one people without one seeing itself as superior to the other.
Do you feel like in general as society and the people who are coming up with churches are moving away from true ministry and it's becoming a business?
Let us call a spade and not a big spoon. Nowadays, ministry, the ministry, I'm training to become a clergy, but not everyone is called into the ministry. You know, ministry has a lot of money. And in ministry, you're given envelopes by your washirika. Your mshirika will come and will give you an envelope as a sign of thank you mchungaji for the nice gospel. In ministry, you'll be given a lot of money. So people are seeing that ministry has a lot of money and they're coming to the ministry to get the money instead of being a shepherd to the hearts of the people.
Church ministries receive revenue in different ways, including, but not limited to, tithes and offerings, fundraisings and donations, income-generating activities, partnerships and grants, and media and digital outreach.
I can say that some people are not driven by the call, they are driven by the finances that are in the church. And that is why someone will say, I am going to fight for the young people, and instead of going and confronting the president and the government, they are being given bribes and they are accepting them. Because if you're truly called by God to shepherd the people, when you're given a brown envelope, you're supposed to say no to it, like Joseph did. Joseph said no to the wife of Pharaoh, not because he was a fool, but because he was grounded in the word of God, and he knew that it was in God that his morals and his values are shaped. And so we see that we see our clergy going out, being given money, accepting it. Is that truly God's calling, or have they called themselves into ministry?
A Christian in the digital age? And I'll start with some light questions. If Jesus were here today, do you believe he'd be on social media?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Dennis, and a theology student, same with my friend here. First of all, before I respond to your question, I would like to share some insights on what I have gotten from her views. And I would like to say the church is a state, or is a space that should advocate for social justice. Not just social justice, but the justice of everyone, even in the community. So when you talk of that moment when the church is silent on matters affecting the community, I feel like we are failing as young pastors, as young clergy. If it happens that Jesus was here today with the technology that we have. You know, I was looking at a clip somewhere, and I saw the new Jesus, like a social media Jesus, who was performing miracles and changing water into wine, holding a selfie stick this way and saying, check it guys, nime change water into wine. Like, kuna vitu hazita add up at the end of the day. But if Jesus happens to be talking to us today, could he still use the things that he used earlier?
In terms of your interaction with social media, there are people who say we can't avoid it. It's the in thing. Everyone is on a page on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. But the content that is put out there is sometimes about self-grandiose, kujisifu, trying to chase clout and all that. So as a Christian and your interaction with the digital space we find ourselves in, how easy or how hard is it to, stick to your path, not lose your morals, not lose your focus, but still not feel left out with the current trends? How do you strike that balance? Talk to us.
Social media doesn't give me the sense of fulfillment. It's yes, inanifurahisha when I see it, but I don't get that fulfillment, what I want. But in Christianity, let's say I want to, there's a deep feeling, feeding the soul. You have that yearning of being full. And the only way for me to be full is by sticking to, maybe I watch Pastor Mike, Pastor Mike? Yeah, in TikTok, I listen to gospel music. It gives me that certain fulfillment.
Social media has made us very lazy in that anything that you want, you can just find it there. But it has also made things very easy. For example, if I don't know of a verse, I can just go, Google it, and then it will bring me the exact place that it is from. So it will make my work easier in ministry, in giving the word, and even some other things. Responsibility also falls on us as young ministers. How well are we able to bring people to the kingdom of God? Is it just through social media or through speaking the right word of God, regardless of the system or the thing that you're going to use?
And at times you don't come across content that is of good virtue. Let me put it that way. So unajitaga mkutano aje tuseme, cause hawezi control kenye unaona on social media. Vitu zingine ni proper, vitu zingine zinakufundisha, some are religious, but others are secular. So how do you balance? Give us your personal experience.
Most of the time when you watch the content that you concentrate much on is what content is mostly brought, but sometimes the secular content comes and you can somehow skip it, but you'll still see. And I would say just don't dwell on it that much. Yeah.
The consumption of ministry today is done in various ways and using different platforms, which include social media platforms, YouTube and podcasts, live streaming and virtual services, mobile apps and websites, WhatsApp and Telegram groups, music and creative content, and influencer collaborations.
I feel like we pretend a lot, especially when it comes to church. Why, you ask? How many people know of friends, or perhaps even yourself, you might not want to say it, umetoka sherehe, umeingia church. Is that really right? It's not right. Why do we do it? Do you feel like maybe perhaps we shouldn't always blame the church, but also we should look inwards?
Okay. According to me, some of the things we do, we normally judge ourselves before we enter the church. Like earlier I said that I've been into different churches, and different churches have their own way of doing their things. So taking that scenario of kutoka sherehe and then uingie church, first of all, inside I just blame myself, have that blame game and that guilt inside me, and say, kutoka sherehe, and then according to church, you need to be like this, you need to humble yourself before God. So you have that guilt destroying you inside. And again, on another point, saying that some things that will trouble you from inside when you're entering the church, that first time when you go into a new church, you're welcomed. Unapatiwa kachai hapo, you're a new member. As a youth, unafurahia, because that's a free thing umepata. And then as you continue with the services, and then you see like the church is, like their dress code is different from yours. And then, yes, I'm a Gen Z, I'm a youth, I need to wear the way I want. But as you are continuing with the services, and then there's that an itchy thing inside you that says, hey, you need to change your ways a bit. Yeah, you find that it's troubling inside you.
I'm curious, if you weren't born into a Christian family, would you perhaps feel like you belong in church? Is it more of an obligation? Because, we're born, we find out that, okay, people go to church, so we go to church. Do we do it as an obligation, or do we really mean it?
Before you pass the mic, let me just add on that. Okay, I'm from a family where we have different people who are going to different dominions. Like our firstborn goes to Catholic, secondborn SDA. The sibling that I follow, I'm right behind, is a Muslim. So for me, as I grew up, I used to be taken to all those altars, Muslim, Catholic, SDA. So when I grew up, and then now I'm of sound mind, and then I can make my own decision, that's how I find myself in church. I say that, I have to go to church, not this,
I think on the issue of we are pretenders in church, I think I can agree with our presenter here, because most of the times some people leave the faith of their parents and other people leave their own faith. But one thing I want us to understand is we are more religious than spiritual. We want to show people that we go to church, we want to show people that we are saved, but from inside us, we are not saved, we are not convicted. That is why we are in the church and still fornicating. That is why we are in the church and still committing adultery. Why? Because it has not come from within us. Maybe we are going to church because we don't want our parents to ground us. Maybe we are going to church so that we can show the society that we go to church. Maybe we are going to church because the fourth commandment says, respect the Sabbath day and make it holy. But we are not convicted from inside. And salvation should start from inside us and within us. Live that salvation. Converse in that salvation. Dress in that salvation.
And just like my friend Ronnie has said, that you've been taken to all those religions, all those denominations. At some point, you'll have to choose what works best for you. For me, as a young pastor, I will change or convert to being a Muslim. Why? Because of the things that they do. But ikifika kwa some other things they do, I feel like they're doing the wrong thing. So to me, I believe actions speak louder than words. And beware of the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Okay. And as we finalize, for the lady with the mic, what would you like to see in the church in the next 10 years? Because there's this conversation about the church still remaining relevant to the young generation that is seated right here. So what should the church do to endear to the masses, to the young population, which is the majority, by the way? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the question. And actually, it's something that I'm seeing in different aspects. And also our local church is really embracing that. And is inclusivity, where leaders and elders can incorporate us in their elders court meetings. And that's what we are trying to see. And yeah, leaders are trying to even call us out. Maybe some of us who serve in the youth ministry, personally I serve in the youth ministry leadership.
Nice.
And the leaders reach out to us, and we even have a leadership. But if the church continues to include us as the young people, there'll not be any gap. Because what we are seeing right now is the gap, because it's like you're being pushed on into a ministry which you don't even know about it. You don't know how to even start holding it, or maybe where to start. But if they continue including us the way they are doing, we'll not be having any gaps, and there is hope in the future church. Yeah.
Okay.
The church should renew its influence by moving from the pulpit to participation, from preaching to partnership, from traditional to transformation. Yes.
Okay, interesting. That's a good way to finalize. And we definitely appreciate your input. It's very clear that the future of the church is not just placed on the hands of elders, the preachers, the pastors. It's those of us who are seated here. We're the future of the church. So keep preaching, keep praying, keep speaking. Speak your truth to power. Kabisa. SPUA. SPUA. So I understand this is a talented group, and amongst us we have a poet, we have a musician, we have a spoken word artist. But right now we'll give the stage to the musician and the spoken word artist. We get to sample what St. Paul's University has to offer in terms of talent. So let's start with the musician. You can take the stage, start with your name, and give us your thing.
Good afternoon. I'm Monica Karaoke. I go by the name Nika K. I'm on YouTube. I'm a gospel artist. For today, I'll be singing a patriotic song. It's called Amani Kenya. It's on YouTube. I'll start. Kila ninapomba huiombea Kenya yetu, nilalapo niamkapo huiombea Kenya amani. Kenya ni yetu, nchi yetu. Wakenya tuwe na amani, tujenge Kenya, tusibomoe. Wakenya tuwe na amani, hii ni Kenya, mimi Mkenya, wewe Mkenya, sisi wa Kenya, sote wa Kenya, watu wamoja, wenye umoja, si utengano. Ukenya, Kenya, Kenya, amani. Naomba Wakenya, 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 amani. Twaomba Wakenya tujue kwamba kuna leo na hata kesho, tujenge Kenya, tusibomoe.
All right, next on stage is the spoken word artist. Without further ado, the stage is yours. Way.
Hi everyone, my name is Janet and I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Josephat Kili for coming up with this piece. This piece is basically to everyone. Yeah. My boys are dying. My girls are dying. Families are mourning. Our country is crying. Shash available next door at a grocery kiosk. Sex and prostitution won't wait till dusk. A generation is at risk, lest we raise it through speak and clicks. Lack of opportunities, loneliness, the mood is wrong. Substance abuse, desperation, and suicide's been on the country for too long. My boys find nothing right except the logo on their Nikes. Their stars no longer bright. Option ni jaba staring at the skies. Destination base na stages. Hustle kuekelea bets. Wakibrowse borrowed newspaper pages. Ama squad za ma3 wanakuwa madonda. Pay ambao au choani daily wanalia kusota. Upkeep na kiruma inakuwa ngori. Mili zinazidi tu kukonda. Viraisi wanageuka madhegi. Wengine mamblaina. Wizi kuzidi mitani. Mafala hata kwa kanisa. Bungeni au kaunti wakilishi wanatuwai kwa urahisi. Time ya campaign wanatupigisha foleni. Chwani au so tunatia porini. Tunachua za macho na soko hazina macho. Vumbi na mabonde. Mabarabara ni ovyo. Mahospitali kukosa hata Panadol inabo. Yes, it's sickening to say the least. Raise our voices or write a letter. Mediocrity let us resist, for we deserve better. Our generation is at risk, lest we raise it through speak and clicks. We get encouraged by the hype. At times a trap, social media is not always nice. A predator be out there laying a trap for a daughter, a sister, or a niece. My girls end up sexually exploited, others' bodies mutilated. Yule sister wa Kanyari na Waeni dead. In all media channels they trended. How this is kinda normalized is absurd. Reason to get abused? Reason to get abused? Our behaviors surprising the whole world. Change we should for our own good. A generation is at risk, lest we raise it through speak and clicks. Breathe in, hold, out. For communities to conquer the afflictions of the globe, young and old must give up dope. Embrace duality. Female, be proud of our femininity. Male, carry with pride your masculinity. Be top-notch on spirituality. A generation is at risk, lest we raise it through speak and clicks. A generation is at risk, lest we raise it through speak and clicks. Thank you.
Nice.
All right, Jesse, we've heard from the youth, the young minds here at St. Paul's. And for me, the big takeaway is, at the end of the day, the church remains a cornerstone in our society, but also some traditions do not apply in this age.
Exactly, and the church should definitely go out of its way to try and bring the young folk into its masses in terms of whether it's embracing digital media and trying to reach out to the youth through these platforms. It's really an interesting conversation that we had, just really proper to have such young, sharp minds give their take on a very core issue in our day-to-day lives right here in Kenya.
There's one, I think it was the Chaplain lady, Madam Chaplain,
Yes.
who said that, faith it comes from within.
Exactly.
That calling, when you go to church, what is your purpose when you go to church? We should all, I think, look inwards and evaluate the whole purpose of faith and why we need these religious institutions and what we take from them as well.
Yeah, spiritual nourishment is key, and don't do it for the sake of being seen. Beware of the wolf in sheep's clothing,
It's
as
not
we had
an
said earlier.
obligation.
Exactly. That's the people's voice, and this is the People's Lens. My name is Jesse Rogers.
I'm Ashley Mazuri. You can always reach out to us. 22151 is our SMS line, or at KT News KE at Ashley Mazuri across all platforms. And
At the Jesse Rogers.
you can always DM us if you have a very burning issue that you want us to have a conversation on, or if you want us to feature your school or your area code, always DM us and we'll come, right?
Definitely keep the conversation ongoing. See you next time.